Hello, grade 9. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. So welcome to one more video. Today we are gonna do a study of a different topic, okay? And I'd like to congratulate you from all your effort and things you learned, okay? Thank you so much for that. So we finally move on. Today we are gonna focus more on the organization of tissues. Before we were talking about cells, now we are gonna talk about tissues. We continue our topic of cellular specialization. What happens when two sperm cells go together? So the egg and the sperm of the man, we create a zygote. This zygote is the immediate result of fertilization. So all kind of life starts as a zygote. Doesn't matter which life, but everybody's like that. So zygote is a single cell, full of a set of DNA. Remember? So one zygote has the full set of DNA. So we all start as a single cell, but we don't stop like that, right? We are not a single cell, of course. What's gonna happen? A zygote, this single cell, will multiply. Remember, through what kind of division? I hope you know now. Please tell me. The zygote will multiply by mitosis. Thank you. So mitosis, you're gonna multiply this zygote. So one zygote will turn into two cells. Then each of these two cells will multiply to 4 cells. Each of these 4 cells will multiply into 8 cells. For example, in this stage here, I have 8 cells. And the multiplication, the mitosis continue until we form one structure that we call it blastula. And it continues, we call this gastrula. Okay, we are not going to focus on this. Okay, I just want to understand that one single cell, the zygote, will multiply and multiply, and we have more complex, forming more complex structures. Okay, through mitosis. This you need to know. The cell division that makes this division is mitosis. So one zygote multiply into cells, and then each cells divide into 4 cells, we divide into 8 cells, and so on, until forming an adult human. We have 6 trillion cells, so it's a lot of cells. 6 times 10 to the power of 13 cells is usually the number of cells in an adult. Okay, so when we were created through zygote, we make the mitosis until we get 6 trillion cells, and it's continue over and over, right? We never stop growing up. Okay, why the cell divides? So it divides to increase the number of cells, of course, but also divide to have specific functions. So the stem cells, the first cell, will multiply, and also will get specialized. We specialize the cells into fat cell, bone cell, blood cell, nervous cell, epithelial cell, immune cell, sex cell, through meiosis, right? All of them is mitosis except the sex cells, meiosis, and muscle cell, and so on. Okay, so each stem cells will specialize, will multiply, and also specialize in its function. That's what we are talking in this video. Okay, so this specialization forms the tissue. What's the tissue? Tissue is the most basic level of cellular organization. So when I have a group of cells, I form a tissue. So it's a group of similar cells with a common structure and common function. So these similar cells will have common structure and common function. In our body, we have 4 types of tissue. So 4 types of tissue that we're going to study. Epithelial tissue, what comes to your mind when I talk about epithelial tissue? Where is it? In your skin, for example. Nervous tissue, what's that? What's nervous tissue? Where it goes? Your nervous tissue is acting right now while you study now. So your nervous tissue from your brain for you to think, for you to do the connections. The connective tissue. The connective tissue is some kind of tissue that makes everything together and has a lot of functions. Okay, we're gonna talk about this. And muscle tissue that basically makes you move, the movement of your body, of your organs, and of everything in your body. So muscle is basically movement. Okay, so we are gonna talk about these 4 types. But for now, what are the 4 kinds of tissue that we have in our body? Epithelial, nervous, connective, and muscle. Okay, this is 4 types of tissues that we have in our body. First, let's study the epithelial. So epithelial, the main function is to cover and to protect our organs, both inside and outside the body. So epithelial tissue is not just your skin. You also have epithelial tissue inside your body, covering your organs. And also it has some other functions, for example, to secrete, to absorb, and to filter substance. Okay, so epithelial tissue covers and protects the organs, both inside and outside the body, but also has this function of to secrete, to absorb, and to filter substance. So let's make an example here. In your skin, the epithelial tissue that you have in your skin covers and protecting. So this kind of epithelial tissue has the function of covering and protecting. So the epithelial tissue that you have in your skin has the function of covering and protecting your body. But the salivary glands also is covered by epithelial tissue. It's not just protection, it also has the function of secreting a substance. Which substance? Your saliva. Very important for your digestive process, okay? So when you eat something, the glands of your salivary will secrete the saliva. And this glands is made up of epithelial tissue. So in this case, my epithelial tissue in your glands is secreting a substance. Which substance? A saliva. Another example, in the small intestine, you also have a lot of epithelial tissue. What's the function? The function is to absorb nutrients. So inside your intestine, you have epithelial tissue that absorb nutrients. So the food that you eat, you absorb these nutrients from your body, okay? And the kidneys. The kidneys, what's the function of the epithelial tissue in your kidney? They filter your blood. Really, really important function, okay? So here you have 4 kinds of examples of different function of epithelial tissue. In your skin, what's the main function? Covers and protects. In your salivary glands, what's the function? Secretion of saliva. In your small intestine, what's the function? Absorption of nutrients. In your kidneys, what's the function? Filter the blood. Very good. Now let's talk about connective. Connective, the words mean connection. So connective tissue makes the connection. It's the most abundant and widely spread distributed tissue in your body. Okay, so this is the most abundant tissue. The connective tissue binds and support tissues and organs in the body, and also provide organs with protection and nutrients. Okay, so also makes the distribution of nutrients, for example. So to explain the connective tissue, let's take an example of your leg, for example. We have different kind of connection tissue in your leg. Let's say this one. This one is the blood. The blood tissue is a kind of connective tissue. And what's the function of the blood? Is the transportation of many substances. So this is one kind of connective tissue that has the function of transportation. Another example here, cartilage tissue. The cartilage from your knees, for example, what's the function? The cartilage is protect bone extremities. So the cartilage protects the bone, okay? So the cartilage is like a more smooth tissue that protects the bone extremities against, for example, deterioration, okay? Another one that usually we don't like very much is the fat tissue. So the fat tissue, we don't like to store this very much, right? But it's important. Why it's important? To store nutrients as fat, okay? That's why you cannot eat so much, because your body will understand, oh, I receive nutrients, I need to save for later. So I'm going to store this in your fat tissue. Okay, that's why you cannot eat so much. Or you can eat but make exercise, or both. Not eat so much, but make exercise to not accumulate so much fat tissue. But it has its importance, because if you don't eat for some time, for example, if you don't have this reserve, you can fall down, you can even die. Okay, so this is important. You cannot just give away all your fat. You must have some fat. And for example, the bone tissue is also a connective tissue with the protection of supports and protects your body. Okay, so your bone supports and also protect your body. So here we have 4 examples of connective tissue with different functions. So connective tissue has a lot of functions, so it depends on which type of connective tissue you're talking about. For example, blood has the function of transportation, cartilage, the protection of bone, specifically protection of bone extremities. The bone tissue has the function of supporting and protection of the body, and the fat tissue store the nutrients, okay? Okay, let's talk about the nerve tissue. Nerve tissue, really, really important, helps control and guide your body, okay? Make possible the message to be received, processed, and transmitted between the brain and other parts of your body. If you don't have the nerve tissue, you just don't exist, because you have no connection at all. So it's the connection from your brain to other parts of your body. So your brain is basically made of nerve tissue, okay? But it's transmitted through your body through the nerves, spinal cord, and brain. So all nerves from your body, your spinal cord here, and your brain are made up of nerve tissue. Okay, so brain is made up of nerve tissue. This nerve tissue, what's the main function? Is guide your body, makes the order for your body. So if you need to digest a food that you eat, you need to get the order from your brain. So brain is like the boss in your body. Okay, makes everything else to function. So the nerve tissues controls and guide your body, and it's the nerve tissue receive the information, process it, and transmit from the brain to all parts of your body. Finally, the muscle tissue. Muscle tissue has the ability to contract and to regain its shape like a spring. So it contracts and decontracts all the time. So the muscle basically makes the body to move, not just the body, but your organs as well. Some of your muscle tissue can be controlled voluntarily. For example, the movement of your fingers. So if you're moving right now, you are controlling, you are controlling the movement of your fingers, of your body, of your legs, of your full body. But there is some muscle tissue that you cannot control, that you cannot make this work or not work. For example, your heartbeat. Imagine if you could control it. Nobody would be alive. So heartbeat is made of muscle controls, of muscle tissue, but you cannot control. So it moves by itself. It moves involuntarily. So you don't control this movement. There is three types of muscle tissue. The skeletal, that's muscle attached to the bones. That usually is the muscles that you can control. The smooth muscle tissue, that is the muscles that are made up of the organs or the lineup of the organs that contract. For example, stomach contract, bladder, uterus, and some blood vessels. Okay, so smooth muscle tissue build some organs that contract. For example, stomach. When you eat too much, your stomach expand. So it expand, but when it's empty, it contracts. Why it contracts? Because it has this kind of muscle tissue that we call smooth. And one specific muscle tissue that is cardiac. Where is it? In the heart. Okay, so found only in the heart. So the cardiac, your heart has a specific kind of muscle tissue, and it just happens over there. Okay, so cardiac is a muscle tissue that only have in your heart. So what are the three kinds of muscle tissue? Skeletal, that is the muscles attached to your bones. The smooth, that is the muscles that made up organs that contract, for example, stomach, bladder, uterus. And cardiac is the muscles that happens only in heart. Okay, so this was the four kinds of tissue. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how the tissue is organized inside an organ. Okay, so what's an organ? Organ is a structure that has two or more tissue types, performing one or more specific functions. So let's take an example of our stomach. So stomach is an organ. It is made up of different types of tissue with complementary function. Let's take a look. So if I have a stomach here, I have different tissues that make up this organ, this stomach. For example, what kind of tissue do you think it's this one? What it looks like? It's a muscle, right? So allows the stomach wells to connect and relax. So this muscle connect and relax your stomach. So when you eat too much, it's gonna expand. When your stomach is empty, it's gonna relax. Who allows this to happen? Your muscle tissue. Okay, what kind specifically? Smooth. Remember, we just saw it. Here, what does it look like? It's an epithelial tissue. This epithelial tissue in the stomach, it secretes gastric juice. What's the importance of the gastric juice? To help in the digestion, right? To break down the molecules of nutrients that you eat, the molecules of food. So this epithelial tissue that happens in the stomach has the function of secreting gastric juice. Another one, connective tissue. Connection. So holds the stomach in place. So this connective tissue makes the stomach to be where it is, to not go anywhere in the body, and helps to maintain its shapes as well. And another one, for example, nerve tissue. Of course, if you don't have nerve tissue, it doesn't receive the information from the brain and it doesn't work at all. So the nerve tissue controls the activities from the stomach. Okay, so here, for example, we saw the four types of tissue: connect, nerve, epithelial, and muscle in just one organ. That's what is organ. Organ is made up of different tissue. Sometimes all the tissues, but at least two types. In this case, I give an example of an organ that has all the four types, okay? And each of them has different functions accordingly to the organ we are studying. So different organs has different type of tissues. Now, if you collect other organs in your body, you form a system. So system is a group of organs. So remember, a cell forms a group of cells form a tissue. A group of tissue forms an organ, and a group of organs form a system. So if when I put two or more organs together, I made up a system. And when I put all the systems together, I make up an organism. Okay, and organisms is the highest level of cellular organization. Let's say an example here. This is a cell, one single cell. Okay, it multiplies and forms a tissue. So let's say an example here of epithelial tissue. Okay, so I have a cell, just one cell. When it multiplies, it forms a epithelial tissue, for example. And I have this epithelial tissue inside an organ. But as we just saw, stomach has different tissues, right? And when I take this organ and I put in a other connecting with other organs, I form a digestive a system. In this case, a digestive system. So the stomach is connected to your intestine, okay, for example, and making the digestive system. So again, a cell is the smallest unit. When I have a group of cells, I form a tissue. When I have a group of tissue, I form an organ. When I have a group of organs, I form a system. And a group of systems form an organism or a body, a person. So for example, the digestive system is made up of cells, tissues, and organs working together to perform a common function. Which function? Digestion. Okay? Okay, so here I'm gonna give you some example for system, but don't freak out, okay? We are gonna study one by one from now on, okay? So not in this video, in the following video, we are gonna talk about each system separated. For example, nervous. Nervous system controls the entire organism, so connect to the brain and controls all the organism and also interact with the environment, for example, with your sensory organs. For example, through tattoos, if you touch a surface that's hot, automatically you remove your hand for you to not get hurt, okay? So the nervous system also interacts with the environment. Another one, musculoskeletal. Musculoskeletal, they work together to support and to give you the mobility for you to move. Cardiovascular. So cardiovascular, it has the function of circulates the blood, and the blood has the function of transport nutrients and other substances. So transport nutrients to the cell. So the cardiovascular transport nutrients and also some gas, oxygen, carbon dioxide. And it's also highly connected to the respiratory system. So the respiratory system has the function of absorption of oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. Digestive. Digestive is to break down and the food that you eat and to absorb the nutrients that comes from this food, and also eliminates the waste. So the food that you don't need is not good for your body, you eliminate. Excretory. Excretory filters the blood and eliminates waste, but it's different waste from digestive, okay? Lymphatic. Lymphatic is the organs that protects you against pathogen. Okay, so you have specific organs inside the lymphatic that produce some, for example, white blood cells that protect your body and works together with your immune system. Okay, I'm not gonna go focus this, we're gonna study this after. And finally, the reproductive system, is the function of reproduction, of sexual reproduction. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And in the next video, we are going to focus more on the system. But for now, please answer the questions in the form. Okay, thank you so much and have a great day.